Hi, it's Jason again from Conservative Policy News Blog. This is my third and hopefully final video on healthcare and the Constitution. We ended up part two talking about the second way to attack the constitutionality of the recently passed healthcare bill by applying the tax and spend clause in the U.S. Constitution to the individual mandates. Now, Congress, again, since the New Deal, the Supreme Court has been reading Congress's power to tax under the enabling clause, for the general welfare very broadly. Before the New Deal, and throughout most of U.S. history, it was read narrowly. You're seeing a theme here. The New Deal essentially, historically, represented a constitutional revolution, and ever since the New Deal, with progressive law schools and kind of left-wing legal culture, as the state has expanded and administrative state has expanded, liberal progressive judges have been providing the expansive state with the legal theories on which it can expand ad infinitum, and the same goes for the tax and spend clause. However, it's not clear whether you can tax somebody for not doing something. This is much of the same principle of attacking the healthcare legislation under the Commerce Clause, and I think that it's a very legitimate constitutional issue. People will say, well, people get taxed for a lot of things. You get taxed for, you get taxed on your income. You get taxed on an estate tax. You get taxed, the death tax. You get taxed when you die. But see, the healthcare mandates were structured as a tax in order to pass constitutional muster, but in a sense, they're really a penalty. They're a penalty for not purchasing something. Most other taxes, even penalty taxes, like sin taxes, like I go to the store and I buy a beer and I pay a higher tax on beer than I pay for bread, right? I've already made that choice. See, you see the concept here? What the individual mandates in healthcare do is they're taxing me for not making a choice. In other words, Congress has the power to tax economic activity, as was determined in the New Deal, and I've already made a choice to go and buy beer, and I'm buying it, and I'm ready to pay, and I'm paying my money as I'm in the stream of commerce, and I'm making the transaction. I'm paying my money, so I've basically accepted that tax. But what the individual mandates do is that they tell me, just sitting here, not getting something, not buying a beer. If they wanted me to buy a beer, not buying a beer is taxable. That's a totally different concept, and that makes it pretty much, literally, I think that it makes it extends Congress's power to tax to almost anything, right? It's taxing you for not doing something. In other words, what's to prevent Congress from passing a law that says, in the name of your health, which is, the general welfare for everybody, because eventually, down the line, somebody's going to pay for your health. So, in the name of your health, we want everybody to go out when they go into the sun to buy a baseball cap with the words "Yes, we can" on it, and wear that cap. And if you don't go out and buy that cap with the words "Yes, we can" on it, we can tax you if you're not wearing it in public. Literally, it's the same thing. People say, oh, that's crazy. That's not crazy. Think about it. I go out in public, I don't have my Yes We Can cap on. There are IRS agents, let's say at a baseball stadium, and I'm not wearing my Yes We Can cap in order to keep out the sun from my keep the sun away from my my head or my face. Hey, we're going to tax you. The general welfare clause. It's interesting, and this is where a lot of conservatives understand this, and you gotta wonder why. Oh well, this is my criticism of conservatism. Is if you go back to the Federalist Papers, John Madison essentially said you have to read the general welfare clause narrowly, and there was actually a fight when the country started between Hamilton and Madison, and eventually, Madison's view, the father of the Constitution, won out. Jefferson was elected in 1800. The Hamilton faction that said, the federal government or Congress has all this power through the general welfare clause to tax people, lost, and that was the law of the land until the New Deal. So, the third attack on the Constitution, the third attack on the healthcare bill, also actually is related to the tax and spend clause. Now, when Congress makes a tax or when they spend money, they have to do so for the general welfare of the entire country. There's a standard that certain things have to be applied uniformly. They have to be applied to everybody. Now, in the Senate bill that Obama signed, that one contained all those carve-outs. Nebraska, the Cornhusker kickback, the Gatorade, the Louisiana Purchase, and I think it also contained the total carve-out for labor unions, exempting them from paying extra taxes on those Cadillac plans, right? That, according to the tax and spend clause, is unconstitutional, because there really is no reason. There's no taxes are supposed to be spread equally throughout the country. There's no reason why some states or some groups in the population got those carve-outs. I mean, we know why they got them. They got them for pure politics. They got them because they were friends with politicians and they needed their votes. But in the Constitution, you can't do that. That's unconstitutional. Everybody has to pay evenly, or the carve-out has to be kind of explained, and those carve-outs obviously weren't. I mean, there's no reason why somebody who owns his own business has to pay a tax on a really good health insurance plan, and somebody, just because he has a union card, doesn't. There's no justification for that, and that's unconstitutional. The third best argument, and I think this one, if it can be made, and it's really complicated, and I'm probably not going to do it justice here. The third best the fourth argument, and this will eradicate the entire bill, is the unconstitutionality based on rate-making cases. And look at that, we're getting to the end of the video. I'm going to stop here. I'm going to have to go to part 4. Sorry about that. I will see you on the other end.